We're going to move on and we're going to go to our Premier League predictions, where me and my brother go head-to-head in predicting Premier League outcomes for this weekend. Sim is on 188. I'm on 207. It's 5 points for a completely correct scoreline. 1 point for correct result in the star man. Once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's get in to the weekend's action, starting off at the Vitality. Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. Sim's gone finally for a Forest win.
And you're the one who predicted the draw this time. But yeah, I think fair play to Bournemouth. Did so well to get the draw last week again. To get the win, 4-1 win against Newcastle at St James's Park. What a result! I feel like Forest are a different kettle of fish. I do feel like the lack of strikers and the lack of physical presence in the area will hurt them in this specific game, because that's what Forest kind of really work with, and I think the injuries might catch up with Bournemouth in this specific game. So I think Forest are going to go there, get a goal and see it out. We'll get the win 1-0.
Yeah, I just got a feeling that Forest might be dropping points in this game. It's a very hard place to go to, the Vitality. They're on unbelievable form, particularly at home. I think they've only lost like one in their last, 10 or even just a bit less. But look, don't get it twisted. Forest are unbelievably doing unbelievably well this season. They're playing really well and they're on unbelievable form. But it's two really good sides in form going up against each other, and I just feel that the points will be split. I think Forest will probably come away a bit unlucky not to win the game, but Bournemouth, don't discredit them even with the injuries. They went away to Newcastle with all these injuries and won 4-1, but I feel Forest will stifle them and it will be 1-1. But moving on to Brighton against Everton. Sim has gone for 2-0 to Everton. I've gone for 2-1 to Brighton. Brighton on back-to-back wins after a bit of horrific form. Everton on the back of a good win against Tottenham. But I just feel like football is gonna be the winner on this day. And I know that Everton they do like to get a result against Brighton and sit deep and counter attack and wait for their opportunities. But I just feel like Brighton going through a good moment at the moment, and they'll take advantage of Everton.
Yeah, to be fair, it was most obviously under Sean Dyche. Everton really know how to go to the Amex and get a result. They've done it for a few times now. There was even one they won like 5-1 at the Amex a couple of seasons ago, and that was a real good tactical display from Sean Dyche. Obviously, Moyes buoyed by that confident win against Spurs. I think they got that defensive solidity. Brighton actually have a terrible record against the bottom teams this season. I don't think I've beaten any of them of the bottom three. I think like Southampton, Ipswich, Wolves and Everton, I think they failed to beat all of them so far. So I think that
you predicting Tottenham wins against the bottom three?
Didn't stop. No, but I'm not predicting a Brighton win. I've learned from my mistake clearly. So I'm going for a Everton win. I think Ndiaye maybe will start to hit a run of form. Calvert-Lewin will be buoyed from that goal as well. So I'm going for an Everton win.
Liverpool against Ipswich up next. Ipswich, after a bit of good form or a few good results, they are slipping down in terms of their results again, and against the Liverpool side who are top of the league. And I don't think anyone can look past the convincing Liverpool win, can they? 3-0 we've both gone for.
Yeah, and I think Ipswich obviously got battered against City. They'll want a reaction to that, but again, against a Liverpool side where however badly they're playing, they always just create a bucket load of chances, and I just can't see Ipswich holding up to scrutiny here. So I can't see anything but a 3-0.
Southampton against Newcastle. Both of us gone for the same scoreline here, again in 3-1 to Newcastle. And yeah, I mean, Southampton actually playing all right at the moment, aren't they? They're creating chances as they have done pretty much all season, but I feel like they look even better with this new manager in recent weeks. But with the way, I know Newcastle just lost 4-1, and I think that would have hurt them a lot, because they would have been favourites going into that game. They were expected to win, and I think they'll come back with a bit of something about them and go and beat this Southampton side.
Yeah, I agree. Southampton, as we've said past couple of weeks, have definitely been better. They are still losing. They've still gotten very little hope of staying up. And look, at this point, they've probably got the best chance of anyone since Derby had got that record of breaking Derby's record. I don't know if anyone's been this bad points wise since that moment. So there's probably a reason for that. But yeah, I think Newcastle will just have too much for them in the forward line. Isaac obviously didn't have an off day against Bournemouth, but I think Southampton, I can't see them keeping Newcastle out. And I think they'll probably get a goal, Southampton, but I think Newcastle will just be too good. So I went for 3-1.
Wolves against Arsenal up next. Sim's gone for 2-0. I've gone for 2-1.
Yeah, although it's at the Molineux, we know that Arsenal didn't have a great defensive display last week against Aston Villa, but I know Cunha's back for Wolves. I just see them being a bit toothless. I don't see them having enough in this game. Even with Saliba out, I think Arsenal will have enough to keep a clean sheet, and I think they'll have enough in this game as well to score goals, even from open play, not even just from set pieces. So I think it'll be a routine Arsenal win 2-0 here.
Yeah, I can't see this being the greatest game of football. I can see Wolves getting a goal with the likes of Matthias Cunha, Strand Larsen on the pitch, and Arsenal, they were really poor defensively against Aston Villa to give away those 2 goals and to give away that 2-0 lead. But yeah, I do think Arsenal will get over the line, set pieces, and they'll win the game 2-1, but it won't be the greatest game of football, that's for sure. Next up is a big game, Man City against Chelsea. We've both gone for 2-2. Man City seemingly somewhat turned a corner a little bit, even though they did drop points to Brentford a couple of weeks ago. Chelsea, they've just got their first win in a while, and I feel like both teams are just going to go at each other, go at it, and I think it's going to be a really good game of football, and I couldn't split them 2-2.
Yeah, me too. I think City, their big players are starting to come into form now, and I think Chelsea's defence, I know they've got Chalobah back now, but
he looked
still,
actually really good.
He did, even though it was against Wolves, but he did look very good, and so fair play to him. But I still think City's attack is starting to purr, and if Foden's in the form that he's been recently, I can see City's Chelsea's backline struggling. Chelsea, though, did get their first win in 5, and that'll give them just that timely morale boost to go into this game. They've still got Jackson and Palmer, who are playing very well. They've still got unbelievable threats going forward, and I think City's, as well as City have been playing, they do still concede chances, and I think Chelsea are a good place to take advantage of that. So I'm going for a 2-2 here, even though it's a big game in the race for that top 4 there.
Yeah. Next up is Crystal Palace against Brentford. Sim's gone for 1-0 to Crystal Palace here.
Yeah, Palace in really good form. I think what is 1 loss in their last 10. They've really found a bit of consistency, a bit of solidity, where they were dropping points all over the shop earlier in the season. Brentford aren't great travellers as well. As much as they got good home form, their away form's not good. But they're still they can still be quite a solid team on their day, and as much as Palace are have been very good, Mateta's been in good form, I can still see it being a fairly tight game with only a goal in it, so I'm going for a Palace 1-0 here.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-0. I feel like Brentford away from home, they do seem to concede a fair few goals, and with the way Palace like to play, I feel like their front line could really hurt this Brentford side, and Palace are on really good form. They've really kind of, after that initial first 9 games or something, they've just gone, what was it, unbeaten, or like 1 loss in their last 10 or 9 or something. So really good form from Palace. They're playing well as well, and I can't see a Brentford getting anything from this game. So I've gone for 2-0 to Crystal Palace. Next up is Tottenham against Leicester. Big game down at the bottom. Sim's gone for 2-1 to Tottenham. I've gone for 1-1 here, and I just feel like Spurs are just going to be completely running on empty with the lack of options that we have. And with us having to play on Thursday, it's going to be a really big and taxing game out in Germany. It's going to have to be a lot of those same players that are going to have to play in this Leicester game, and Leicester are going to have freshness coming into it compared to us. Yes, they're probably the worst performing team in the league as of right now. Ruud van Nistelrooy can't buy a win at this current moment in time, but neither can Ange Postecoglou, and I feel like Leicester will come into this with a bit of hope that they can take something from the game, and I think they will.
I think it will be a real tight game. It's going to be a slog. It's going to be 2 poor teams going at it. We're going to be running on empty. We're going to be, the situation for us. I got a feeling, don't know anything, I got a feeling Romero might come back into this game, and if he does, that could be a big boost for us if he does start in this game, and maybe help just kind of plug some sort of gap in the back line. Maybe Rishi gets his first start in a while in this game as well, so maybe he's a bit fresher here. Maybe Mikey Moore starts. I just feel like Leicester, I think statistically they got the worst defence. Only Wolves and Southampton have a worse defence, and then they're losing by big margins every week at the moment, conceding bucket loads of chances. I'm not sure if Ruud is the right guy. I know we lost to Everton last week, but at least Everton, they've always been a solid defensive team, even in their bad form. They got good results against good teams, even in the form where they weren't scoring. Leicester don't do that defensively. Even in their games they play well and they win, they still concede bucket loads of chances. So I think Tottenham will create. and I'm backing them just to get dragged themselves over the line by hook or by crook, and I think it's going to be a 2-1 win for Spurs.
Bloody hope you're right, mate. Bloody hope you're right. We move on to the claret and blue derby. Aston Villa against West Ham. Sim has gone for 3-2 to Villa.
Yeah, and I think Villa will be all right in this game. I think, again, West Ham learning a new way of playing under Graham Potter. I think it has been a struggle despite getting a win against Fulham. I thought they were poor against Palace, and against Villa, they opened them up early on in the Cup, but ended up Villa turning it around and they couldn't stand up to scrutiny. Still, I don't know if West Ham are going to have any injured players back or anything like that. So I know
Owen's back on the grass. He's saying he's training.
I don't know if he'll play in this game though. If he doesn't, I do think though, with the way Villa play, I do think the way that West Ham are a bit more proactive can cause Villa some problems. But I just think their defence won't hold up to what Villa can offer. And I think Watkins should be really confident going into this game. He's in good form. I know they had a bad result midweek, but they'll turn it around here and win 3-2, I predict.
Yeah, it's interesting. I can't remember. What injury did Bowen get?
He actually broke his foot.
He broke his foot. Yeah, I mean, he's been on the training pitch for probably longer than Cuti Romero, I think. So we'll see what happens. But I think, I think Villa will win this game. I haven't been too impressed with West Ham under Graham Potter as of yet. Injuries really stifling them in the front line, and I feel like they're a bit of an open book right now with the way that Potter is liking to play, and I think Aston Villa will reap the benefits. I do think they've got something about them that they can go and get a goal at the other end of the pitch, but I think Villa, particularly at home, will be too strong for West Ham here, so 2-1 to Aston Villa. Next up is Fulham against Manchester United, and I've gone for 3-1. Sim's gone for 2-1, and yeah, I just feel like Fulham will take advantage of a Manchester United side who they only can seem to turn up in the really big games so far, where they've got that motivation within the camp to really muster up a performance. And I think against Fulham are just going to be way too aggressive for them. I think they're going to, in that small pitch, they're really going to pile it on them. And I think the likes of Iwobi, even Wilson and Raul Jimenez are really going to have a field day a bit. And I think 3-1.
Yeah, I went for 2-1 to Fulham. I think Fulham will come out on top. I think they'll win the game. I think United can't seem to get themselves up for these kind of games. And I think tactically, Fulham will probably have the better of them. I think the front three, Smith Rowe, Iwobi, who else is out up front? Jimenez, Traore will just cause them too many problems. I think United are a bit toothless up front right now. I know Amad Diallo's performing well, but apart from that,
he's like the only one.
Yeah, I can't see them really causing Fulham that many chances where they risk winning the game or getting a point. So I think Fulham, I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I went for a 2-1 win to Fulham.
And the star men, Sim's gone for Cody Gakpo of Liverpool, and I've gone for Anthony Gordon. Yeah, I've gone for Gordon because away at Southampton, I feel Newcastle are going to come out with a point to prove, and I think Southampton, with the way they play, they do leave gaps at the back, and I think it could be perfect for someone like Anthony Gordon to really exploit them.
Yeah, I've gone for Cody Gakpo. I don't think he started in midweek, so I think that gives me hope that he'll start against Ipswich. I think he's been really informed for them as well. So I think if Gakpo starts, I can really see him doing damage against Ipswich.
All right. Well, there you have it. That is our Predict the Prem to go into the weekend's fixtures.